What do you believe? It's quite the question, isn't it? What do you believe? Well, by definition, to believe means to A, either hold something as true, be certain about the truth of some topic or object or idea or whatever it is, or B, to hold something as an opinion. In today's politically charged world, it seems more and more that we tend to hold the term belief on that second definition. They are, in fact, opinions. And that's okay. It still all boils down to one truth. Your beliefs shape you. They shape who you are, they mold you and what you think, and they most certainly influence what you do. And your beliefs determine who you become. They are your destiny in life. Don't believe me? Yes, that was an intentional pun. Well, we're going to dig deep into there shortly. So, what are some common beliefs that immediately come to mind when you hear this word beliefs? Kids believe in Santa Claus, right? Perhaps it's a belief in God. Some even believe that Area 51 is a secret top government site where they have evidence of an alien ship that actually crashed there back in the 1950s. And speaking of aliens, many people believe they exist as well. And they certainly fuel a great many movies out of Hollywood, don't they? Our beliefs are critical to every aspect of our lives. They mold us, shape us, and impact us on nearly every single level. But unfortunately, most of us give no rational thought to what those beliefs really are and what they're doing to ourselves. They run on kind of autopilot in the background of our subconscious, and we're not aware of them running nonstop every single aspect of our lives. Just like a computer processor running in the background of your laptop. You never see it, will rarely have ever noticed it, unless, of course, there's a problem. In fact, the only time we notice them is when we experience the outcome, and in many cases, tragic outcomes. And guess what? Our beliefs cause us a ton of pain. Most of the time, and we simply don't even notice them. We don't realize it. We're always looking outside for the cause of our grief, our pain, and our suffering. But most of the time, it always comes from within. From the core of some belief we vigilantly, sorry, I can't say the word, hold on to. You ever wonder why some people who work dirty, back-breaking jobs are just so content and they're happy in their life and they don't crave more stuff? While millions of middle and upper income men and women, they seem so miserable. They're never content with their lives. Yep, you guessed it. A major part of that involves their beliefs. So where do these beliefs come from after all? Well, usually most of the beliefs we have are fused within us from early on in our life. Take, for example, the idea of college. Maybe you grew up in a house like I did that placed a high amount of value on college education. You heard from years from your parents how important it is. Go to college, get a job, build a career, earn more money, and retire at 65 with that gold watch and some company pension. What were you more likely to do as a result of that? Well, you went to college. That's a belief. And it shaped you. It shaped who you became. Rarely do most of our fundamental beliefs develop because of our deliberate will or our careful thought, investigation, or even introspection. They are formed early on and get built upon over time. It's just like concrete. They get poured into us wet and it dries slowly, hardening over time and with more experience until it's solid, becoming absolutely rigid eventually. And without even you realizing it, those beliefs are immobile, unyielding walls that affect the decisions you make for years, maybe even the rest of your life. You believe, I hope, this course can help you. You wouldn't be sitting here beginning this Thrive Path journey with me if you didn't. I wouldn't think so. You invested a considerable amount of money on this, and you will time. But why? Well, maybe it was because of a well-crafted marketing campaign. I hope that's not the case. Or perhaps it was my credentials. I have been in the financial industry for the better part of a quarter of a century, going on 27 years now. Can't believe it. And I've achieved some of the highest credentials and certifications this industry has to offer. I've earned recognitions and awards for my work. I'm considered a top financial expert, and I'm also now an international best-selling author. Not tooting my horn here, but I would humbly say you are in good hands with me. But maybe you believe that from the start. But think about this. If you didn't believe that, and there's that word again, that this course would or could help you in your financial stress, your pain, and your aggravation, if you didn't believe or have any faith in my skills or qualifications, there's no way, no way you would have invested your time and your hard-earned money in this Thrive Path course. It simply wouldn't have happened. Your beliefs drove you to this course because your beliefs affect your decisions everywhere, every day, every time. But unfortunately, most of our beliefs are simply operating in the background, running on that ruthless autopilot that refuses to disengage. Yet for most of us, we grow up with beliefs handed down to us. Beliefs we barely give any conscious thought to. Beliefs that may not be in our best interest. And then what happens? Well, they affect everything in our lives. They affect the people we become attracted to, who we spend time with, who we become friends with, our career pursuits, whether we go to church or not, and on down the line it goes. And yes, of course, they radically affect our financial decisions we make and we don't make. Beliefs affect everything, and they greatly affect our financial lives. It's why you're in the situation you're in. Maybe you never realized it, but your beliefs, the things that were most likely passed on to you from your parents or some teachers or some coaches, and even advertisements you saw constantly on television or heard on the radio or you saw on some website, now social media, they've had an influence on your beliefs about money. Your beliefs can even fuel faith in hopeful yet unrealistic outcomes. And here's one of my favorite ones. Funny case in point, the Thigh Master, endorsed by Suzanne Summers. You may remember it. It's an exercise device you put between your legs and you squeeze it back and forth. The Thigh Master, if you recall, blanketed the airwaves for many years, and it was promising a quick fix for all our health and fitness needs. And I particularly love the promotional website marketing their belief campaign. And here it is. Thigh Master makes it easy to quickly lose weight. In just a few short weeks, you can see a dramatic change in the way that your body looks and feels. With extended use, those results will only increase. And before you know it, you'll be a new person, a person that you once loved once again. You will never, ever have to visit the gym again. Now, if you purchase the Thigh Master hoping to, according to the marketers, ensure that you are toned all over or that all that extra weight you would slide right off, don't feel bad. You weren't the only one. People all over the world believed that promise. And by the year 2009, get this, 10 million Thigh Masters had been sold. Yes, 10 million. In retrospect, no one will ever know how many have actually sold to date because after 2009, the manufacturer of Thigh Master stopped counting sales. Look, I'm just having fun here. We've all made these purchases based on our embedded belief structure that convinced us that this item, based on information we believed or wanted to be true, was the ticket to our happiness. And I'll even confess, I'll share one of my own ludicrous purchases. I grew up in Hawaii. I think you may know that. And now, mind you, shirts in Hawaii are optional, right? And I was a chubby kid growing up. Well, you can guess when a product called Sweat Cream hit the store shelves, I couldn't get my hands on it fast enough. This was my ticket to weight loss. No one was going to convince me differently. This magic lotion was going to melt the fat right off me, just in time for summer. Well, that's what they told me, and that's what I believe. And I thoroughly believe it. As a 12-year-old, I would have sold my precious bicycle to get this product. So I think you can see where I'm going with this. Personal mistakes are always a result of misguided thinking. However, by opening your thoughts and not falling victim to unrealistic hope and paralyzing apathy or crippling despair, you'll be amazed by your own transformation. Those beliefs, those things you believe about money, finances, your ability to handle it, whether you honestly think your lot in life is because of someone else's power or decision or control, they affect every aspect of your current and future financial situation. So I want to pause here for a moment. And I know I'm striking you right dab in the middle of the core of your life, and it can be tough to handle and absorb. I know many of you came here looking for the answer, finally, to the reason you've been suffering financially under constant stress, anguish, and despair. No matter how much or how little money you've been earning all these years, that doesn't matter. And just so you know, I'm not like other experts or pretenders or gurus they're gonna hold back the critical answer to the end. I'm shoving it right there in front of you out of the gate at the very beginning of this, because look, I don't like wasting time, and I certainly don't want to waste yours. There is no bigger revelation than this. Your broken beliefs involving money and finances have left you in financial pain and despair. That's it. It's that simple. Yet it's intensely deep. There's a ton to get into, and I'm going to unpack the science behind all of this and show you with neurological data why it all comes down to your core beliefs. But first, I want you to take a few moments and contemplate what I just told you. Every time I've worked with a client and revealed this critical component, they almost always push back on me. It's like going through a grieving process. You have to work through this in stages. It's a process, and it does take some time. First, typically comes denial. You might be thinking, come on, John, there's no way my beliefs have anything to do with the situation I'm in. There's no way my beliefs are why I'm drowning in debt. Well, fair enough. I mean, fair enough to think that. I get it. I do. But that's also rooted in another broken belief. Do you see that? The one that says beliefs are about life, meaning, purpose, why we're here, and so forth. That's not what we're talking about. Beliefs can be about anything and everything. And in this case, they're about your financial situation. So I'm going to pause this session to give you about 5 minutes to think about this. I want you to consider some of the major beliefs you've had in your life. And I want you to contemplate how those beliefs affected various decisions you made, whether it was career, family, marriage, where you live, what you chose to do at the time, anything. Consider what led you to your current financial situation and be very honest with yourself. There's nothing to write here. I'm not asking you to do an exercise, not yet. We've got plenty of that coming. But right now, I'm just going to step away for 5 minutes. You don't need to pause this or anything. But I urge you to stay here, clear your mind, and then think about those beliefs in your life and what they did to you. What got you to this place and why? I promise you, all of this will come into better focus as we move on. And I promise, if you follow this course to the end, participate in the exercises, and make every effort in them, your life will be transformed. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Take care. Hello again. How are you? Look, if you need more time, then by all means, just pause this session. I really want you to spend some quality time on this. I have to be honest, when developing this transformation program, we went through multiple iterations. At first, I had the introduction up front. Made sense, right? After all, most books and courses and other programs give you an overview of what you'll discover, why it was written, and so forth. Just a general introduction. But we decided to ultimately scrap that and get right into it. Give you the biggest reveal, as it's called, in the beginning. This is the secret sauce. The root cause of all your financial pain is your broken beliefs about money and finances, period. Now, I want to shift gears and I want to talk about the four soils. There's a story called the parable of the four soils. And look, I'm not here to evangelize, but whether you believe Jesus was the Son of God, just a great teacher, or a myth, it doesn't really matter here. His parables ring true today. So bear with me, even if this isn't your thing. It's here where Jesus was referring to people and their beliefs about God and eternal life. And I find this one is perfect representation for our financial lives. So let me give you a brief overview of the story. A man was scattering seed outside, and some of it fell on the path, and they were quickly devoured by the birds. Other seed fell on rocky soil. The sun rose, the seed sprouted, but eventually and very quickly the plant withered away because it really had no root. Other seed fell among the thorns and the brush. It grew, but eventually was choked out, making it unfruitful. But finally, some seed actually fell on fertile land and grew and produced a crop, some 30, some 60, and some 100-fold. Now, I can imagine you might be asking, all right, John, what does that have to do with my financial situation? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's all about your beliefs. That's what we're talking about here. Look, in the first soil, you've got people who may be struggling financially, but they refuse to accept responsibility for it. Their lot in life, their financial pain is someone else's fault. They will never, ever be able to see the truth, and they won't be able to change. They won't find financial peace in this life. And when you consider that nearly 8 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck today, and that's full-time working adults, mind you. And then you learn that just 7 years ago, it was 7 out of 10 people were living paycheck to paycheck. Things are getting worse. You realize there's a lot of people who assume they've got it handled, when in fact they don't. These people might be struggling in secret, but they don't want help, and they certainly don't seek help. They think, no, they believe they'll get it figured out on their own, or everything will simply work its way out and be fine. So like the seeds on the path, these people were devoured by the stress and anguish of their financial pain. The second type of person would be the one who recognizes they are, in fact, in financial pain and trouble, living on what I call Pain Island. And they may find a book or a get-rich course or some online thing and think, wow, this is it, this is perfect. They get excited. They may take the first few steps. They may even get started on some debt repayment program and reallocate some of their paycheck to an investment. But within a few months, though, if that, they fall away. They have no root. They fall right back into the pattern based on their own broken beliefs. With the third soil, you've got people who recognize they've got a serious problem and they want to solve it. They're more willing to invest in a solution, time and maybe money, and they work hard at it. They might even take a university financial course, attend some seminars and workshops and read a ton of books and literature and other things. They might even pay down their debt. Go on a financial radio show and shout the famous shout of celebration, I'm out of debt. But guess what? Nothing really changed within them. They made no real long-lasting transformation. Yeah, they received some good advice and perhaps they got some tools that certainly helped temporarily, but all that time of sacrifice and struggle to pay down debt, they still coveted material things of the world, all for the wrong reasons. that high-end flat screen TV and sound system, the sports car or luxury sedan, the bigger house, the high-end clothes, and so on. Once they got out of debt and they had some savings, they felt good for a while. They feel like they can handle things on their own. So after a while of sacrifice, they typically end up going on a spending spree. After all, they want their friends and family and coworkers and neighbors to say, hey, look at us. Look how successful we are. And I can't tell you how many times I've witnessed this firsthand, only to see the destructive result in the end. And they fall right back into the same bad habits of debt and overspending. Usually, though, the situation quickly becomes much worse than the first time around. All that hope and enthusiasm for a new financial life gets choked out by the temptations of this world. Marketing and ad campaigns that make you feel less worthy if you don't have the latest iPhone or scrumptious steak or high-end luxury vehicle or drink the right wine. And sometimes very quickly, all that progress just evaporates. The fourth soil, though, that's where real genuine transformation takes place. That's where you recognize your broken beliefs about money for what they've always been. And you strive to make the changes necessary, never to slip back to Pain Island again. Now, some people think you're either one soil or another. And it might be that way for some people, but I see it a little differently. You may have once been that person who was stubborn and determined to fix things by yourself, that first seed, but then you reached a point of desperation or frustration and you latched onto a new fundamental tool, that's seed 2. Well, what did that do? Not much. It felt good in the beginning, though it was very short-lived. And perhaps after another few months or years, you may slide into that third soil where you finally resolve to get it right this time. And you may very well go through some serious changes and accomplishments. Definitely, it can happen. But as always, life's temptations and the patterns just overwhelm you in time and you revert back to your old destructive beliefs. Look, whatever your past is or was, it doesn't matter. I'm giving you the tools and the insight and knowledge to transform your life forever, for the better and for the good. Whether the soil in your life is hard like pavement, full of rocks, or riddled with brush, I'm going to give you the tools you need to till that soil into lush, fertile ground. The big power machine I'm handing you first is the major tiller. It's a monster. And you've got to climb up into the cab, fire up the engine, and get those powerful blades turning. And we do that by recognizing your beliefs and how they've affected everything in your life financially. So are you really ready for this? Are you committed to transformation? Because if not, none of this will do you any good. You have to desire change, because as we scrape along the core of your beliefs, it's going to change you. It's going to transform you. All for the better, my friend. All for the better. But change, sometimes hard to deal with. Even welcome change. So if you're not quite ready, I understand that. I do. I get it. That's why I created some bonus content to this element of belief, and I call it Grappling with Change. Check out that next. This supplemental bonus material certainly isn't mandatory, but if you need a little bit more info, a little bit more encouragement, it's a great addition that will provide you what you need to enter this Thrive path with confidence and assurance. In fact, I would encourage everyone to go through it because it's really, really important. But if you're ready, then we're going to take a deep dive into your beliefs around money and really help you recognize what yours are and what's been holding you back all this time. So let's get into the action steps. This is a 3-part activity that builds upon itself throughout this first element. So go ahead and download the Thrive Path Bear Trap worksheet and let's dig in. Okay, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down all of your beliefs you have around money, all of them, regardless of how small or even petty you may think they are. You'd be surprised how small thoughts in our mind can make us do some very self-sabotaging things to ourselves. Feel free to refer to the ones listed to kind of get you going, but also try to think of some that aren't on that list. I really want you to dig deep on those thoughts, those feelings, and those opinions you have around money. And take your time on this. There's no rush. I really want you to be thorough here. Next, I want you to go through each belief and try to recall who, when, where it came from. Can you remember the time and place you learned that belief? Or who or what was it that implanted this idea into your mind? And lastly, I want you to think really hard on this question. Go through each belief and ask yourself, is that belief 100% true? With absolute certainty. It's here where I want you to challenge the validity of each of your beliefs. So let's recap this, because I really want you to focus here, because this is the beginning of your journey to financial freedom and peace of mind. And it all starts right here, right now with this activity. And please don't limit yourself to space on that worksheet. Print out as many worksheets as you need and get them all down. Okay, here they are again. Number 1, what beliefs do you have around money? Number 2, who, when, and where did they come from? And finally, number 3, are they 100% true? Take as much time as you need to answer these questions. Remember, this is for you, so you can keep them to yourself, but I would encourage you to share them with someone, a loved one, a close friend, or even me. It's up to you. But sharing your thoughts with others does help cement the underlying lesson. So in the next session, we're going to dive deeper into your ingrained financial beliefs, and we're going to really see how they're shaping your financial decisions, your actions, and of course your reactions that are ultimately leading you into making financially destructive decisions in your life. Until next time, keep your head up. I cannot be prouder of you for taking this bold step forward. You are on your way to better living right now. Upward and onward. See you next time. Take care.